basically, I think that doxing of anyone. I mean, clearly, I think that the camps there's divided camps, right? But I think that you should understand, and it's kind of hard to define exactly like who's on the right and who's on the left, but you know who is going to be a target for Antifa. You know who is going to be a target for like destruction and ruination if their private details are released. And my take is that no matter who it is, and no matter what disagreements you have with them, you should never throw someone on the right to these wolves. Never. And I am perfectly fine if people want to go after like Luke O'Brien or any of these Antifa journalists and release their info. I mean, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to get, but if people are going to do that, I'm not going to counter signal that. I think that's fine. These people, if their job is going to be stalking people and doxing them, then if it happens to them, they can't complain. I can't do it because it's against the terms of service of some of the providers that I use to keep myself online and not shut down entirely. But I fully support other people if they want to do it. But never do it to someone on the right, because that person, whatever temporary ego issues or disagreements you have with them, like you're gonna create so many problems for them that they probably don't actually deserve in whatever your temporary disagree. Like if you are so pissed at somebody else on the right, like the guy's such a dick, he's such an asshole, like wow, that guy was counter signaling me, he was talking shit on me or whatever. Like it's still just, it's got to be beyond the pale to put their info out there and put them at the mercy of like left-wing journalists in the media and Antifa.
So is that where you draw the line, is the left-right divide, where you don't want the friendly fire, but there is an enemy out there that wants to destroy you, that wants to kill you?
Objectively, there is. Like maybe I have a different view on this because of the spot I occupy on the spectrum, where there are people that want to kill me, to destroy me. And I just would never, I would never even, look, believe me, I've got haters. I've got plenty of people in this thing that absolutely hate me, that are on the right as well. And they don't like me. They don't like my show. They don't like what I do. They don't like how I handle myself. They think I'm responsible for all kinds of shit. But I still would not ever dox them if I got a hold of their info. I wouldn't. I would not throw anybody that considers themselves on the right to the wolves of the leftist press. And I do see that as a divide. And I think, again, while that is a tough thing to define, everyone kind of knows where it is. You know the kind of person that they will try to destroy, and you know the kind of person that they don't give a shit about.
Right. So the context of this conversation, kind of where it started, is it looks like Kraut and T is trying to make a comeback, and part of it is this video that he made with David Sherratt arguing that the alt-right are doxers, and that he was being misrepresented, and that he wasn't really a doxer. I mean, he basically says, well, Aiden played
objectively false, isn't it?
I would say it's absolutely not. I mean, he literally had a doxing server with like a list of targets. Like, that's not arguable. But what he's saying is basically that the alt-right is evil too, and somehow more evil than what I did, and therefore, like, why are you guys judging me?
All right, I mean, Kraut, I think, put himself in a spot, like, I don't know, when it comes to something like the skeptic community where it's not clear, where that's like a genuine place where it's not clear where these people stand. I would rather just argue with them than dox them. Like, I don't see the point. Like, I'd rather just beat. And the thing with the Kraut is he was getting BTFO like constantly, like nonstop. Like everything he said was retarded. Like he was making a fool of himself every time he opened his mouth.
Kraut's getting pregnant.
And it was bad. And so he was lashing out, right? Because he was just humiliated. He should just go away. But he's not going to. But when it comes to like skeptic community people, like the thing is though, say you dox them, what happens? The question is, really, looking at this person's content, are they saying the kinds of things that, should they be doxed, they will be destroyed or they will become a target? And for some of those people, it's not true. It doesn't mean I would endorse it when it would come to them. Now, for me, I guess I'm involved in maybe a little bit of a different type of struggle here. But in terms of the kinds of people that come after me, like the Antifa and these leftist journalists, I have no qualms about if people want to put their information out there.
Sure. I want to throw something out from the chat at you, Mike, real quick. From Clipson, it remains cowardly on both sides. If you can't defeat the idea, then you don't win the argument by sinking to their level.
Right, but we're not having an argument with these people. Right, like if it comes to like the skeptic community, I'm not gonna like go out and dox someone. I want to debate them. I want to get them, and I want to talk to them about ideas. Right, with Antifa and with like Luke O'Brien and these journalists, these people are not having an argument. These are agents that are out there just to destroy us. So you have to. So defending yourself against them is fine.
So when somebody like Kraut goes from being just a skeptic content creator to an agent of the apparatus that's out there seeking white genocide, at that point it's like whatever.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, Kraut's kind of a funny case, but he's already out there, right? Everyone already knows who this guy is. Like, I don't want, like, I mean, that's not really the way I'm looking at it. I would rather Kraut just continue to make stupid videos and get wrecked, because, like, that seems to be his forte, right? But I don't know if he's out there doxing people and then someone retaliates. I'm not going to cry tears for him.
Yeah, and that's kind of where we started off with this, is saying, you know, that there certainly seems to be a lot of moral philosophizing on a platform, you know, because the online, it's like, you know, you've got all sorts of horrid shit going on there. People are able to do all sorts of things under the cover of anonymity, and yet they seem to hold people to a higher moral standard than you would in real life. You know, like the idea that somebody might have lied about something even meaningless would be like, oh, you've lost all credibility, you're a terrible person. Whereas, you know, a politician, a journalist, a media person does it, not really the biggest deal. You know, so
yeah, I mean, I guess the frame I'm looking at doxing in is like the alt-right has been hit by a lot of doxes, and like, you know, guys that went to Charlottesville or guys that were just producing podcasts or whatever. So we've been hit by this, and so for us, like, some kind of like blanket rule against doxing would be great. But the problem is the left, they don't care about arguments. Like, they're literally at the point where they're like, we're not arguing with you. They say openly, we want to destroy you. That's what they want to do. They want us destroyed. They know they can't win the argument. I mean, that's obvious because they don't even try. I mean, the fact that deplatforming and doxing is their method, just, it's an admission that they have no argument. They don't need an argument. They're backed up by all the institutions in society. So they don't need to argue. They just exercise power. Like, we need to get our points across. We need to be able to speak. And if we can't, then we're done. So they know that, and that's why they want to destroy people. And so I just think that, like, there's a pretty clear, in my mind, view of people who would be the kinds of people that these journalists and that the Antifa and the media apparatus that they want to destroy, the kinds of people they want to shut up. And we all kind of know who they are. And so I would say, like, somebody like Kraut isn't in that category. That doesn't mean, like, go ahead and dox him. I'm not saying that. But I am saying that, like, for sure, anybody that you know is going to be a target of these people, even if you hate them, even if they've been an asshole, even if they've counter-signaled you, you don't throw them to those wolves, because it's just not going to be good.
They'll tear them to shreds at that point.
What's that?
They will tear them to shreds at that point.
Yeah, and it's not worth it. Like, you'll feel bad later on if you do it.
Yeah, because
it's not worth it.
Yeah, because while that person might be, say, against you or whatever, as it stands now, once they get exposed to something like that, their perception might completely change. Like, maybe say in the instance of somebody on your side of the woods or whatever says something that you don't agree with or whatever, but then after something like this happens to them, now they understand where you were coming from with some perspective or whatever in terms of doxing, because it happened to them now, and they understand now what it's like to go through something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting doxed is hell, man. It's terrible, particularly when you're out there with a lot of content and everyone's going to be judging you. I also think that there should be some discipline when it comes to when people are doxed. And a lot of people that hate me will be like, oh, Mike, this is obviously self-serving. Well, it's really not, because my shit's out there, man. Every little thing about my life that could be exposed has been exposed. And but there was an issue of infighting and purity spiraling that came up around my docs. That's all sort of in the past now. Like, nobody really cares anymore because enough time has passed.
Yeah, the internet never forgets, but it certainly has a short attention span.
Yeah, and it's also like people just got over it. Like, they're like, oh, all right, like, whatever. But the thing is, like, when people on the right, when people that are dissidents from the sort of multi-culti global homo gayplex perspective. When they get doxed, the doxes will contain information about them that is specifically targeted to cause people to turn on them. So it's not just that like you were doxed, it's that like we've put your information out and we've included specifically stuff that we know is going to trigger about you, that maybe like you were involved in like a scene in an earlier part of your life that you're embarrassed about now, or you wouldn't get involved in now. Maybe it was degenerate or something like that, or you had some kind of certainly not getting into areas of illegality, but I'm saying like, I don't know, like some guy was doxxed a while ago and he had like furry porn, or he had a history of visiting like furry porn sites and shit like that, right? And it's sort of like they know that that's going to be, a lot of people are going to be like, dude, like, what's up with that, right? But it's like, I just think you got to just ignore it. Like, you know what? Like, just blow through it. Like, who fucking cares? Obviously, enemy information planted by an enemy, like you shouldn't use that against somebody who should at least be like not your enemy. That's my view on it. Like, because they're gonna do it. They're gonna put things in there that are embarrassing for you. They're gonna be like, oh look, this guy is really into like, he's really into this subculture that is like, embarrassing to be into or something like that. And you just gotta fucking ignore it. You just gotta, fuck you. We're not gonna let you make us turn on each other.
Yeah, but gas the fur bags. Sorry, furries are gross.
I get it, dude. I get it. But like, if somebody has decided like they're done with that and they've moved on to a different thing, and then like they're exposed as having been into that at one point, like I'm not gonna be like, all right, like I have to like throw you under the bus because at one point, like I'm not into that stuff, and I've never.
Well, I think a lot of it is like post hoc justification for bad actions too. Like I remember when they were going after you, because you were the last of the guys on your show to get hit. They hit Bolby, they hit Ghoul, they hit they hit Sven, and then you were the last one.
You were the.
I was
surprised though, yeah.
Right, but the thing is nobody else had anything really. Like they can say whatever, but it wasn't anything that I had any issues with. But when they came up in your personal life and your relationship, and they were like, he did this. Obviously, CIA, Richard Spencer, Gobo, Homo, Gayplex, shill, spy, whatever. And they said that, all this stuff justified it, right? It was justified because of something that was found out after the docs had already been made, which is obviously a bullshit rationalization. And frankly, I think you've defended yourself perfectly adequately on many occasions about that. But, you get what I'm saying, is that they found something, and therefore it justifies all of the actions that they took when they had no idea, and they didn't care anyway.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Like, conspiracy theories are gonna circulate. There's always gonna be people that are not gonna trust others, and I just think that like the weakness of the pro-white right has always been this sort of fragility, this like this ability to let the other side tell us what we believe and like use our values against us. This ability to let them like make people turn on each other. I mean, this was a very big problem in previous iterations of like effectively the pro-white movement, where it was very easy for like the SPLC and stuff to get people to turn on each other. And I just think like you have to just not let them do it. Just like don't. And the thing about this is like, because there's so much social pressure to not talk about race, to not talk about the JQ, to not talk about what's happening to white people, to not oppose immigration, some of the people that get into it are going to be weird. Right? There's going to be weird stuff about them, and they're going to use that to try and weaken us. And if they do that again and again and it works, we've gotten a lot better about this in the last year or so, I would say. Significantly better about it. Like, people have gotten a lot better about not doing this. But I just think that we have to understand, when people that are effectively your enemies like try to get you to turn on people, you shouldn't do it. Like, if they want you to do something, it can't be good for you. Like if Luke O'Brien wants a certain response out of you, you better think twice before you engage in that response, because it's probably bad for you to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've said it before, but fringe movements attract fringe people.
Yeah.
And the people that are willing to go out there, like Andrew Anglin has done a lot of, good work, I feel like, in the field. But at the same time, yeah, he's got a history. I don't really judge him for it. He did what he did, but people will use whatever they can from that. And I think that perhaps,
I know there's
like he was in the Philippines and he was like in a village with Muslims, and some people are like, oh, well, you were married to child brides or you're Muslim. All that stuff is bullshit, right? But he has the history where they can kind of tangentially make that argument. And I think that, perhaps a guy who didn't have that in his background wouldn't be the guy who's able to go out and make a website as edgy and, he was able to do and to commit so much time to it.
Yeah, I mean, he had a previous life, and in his previous life, he traveled the world. He spent time in Asia. Like, I'm sure he fucked Asian broads. Like, let's be honest. But like,
right?
Yeah. I'm like finding it hard to find a problem here. So it's just like the idea that that guy probably like fucked some broads in the Philippines. Like, he can't be a white advocate. Like, I don't buy that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. By the way, welcome to the call, Ken Boy. How you doing, Ken Boy?
Oh, Jesus.
You got a lot of fans. Ken Boy may not be the most...
Oh, yeah. Hello. I don't know if you guys can actually hear me. I have no idea.
We can hear you.
We can hear you fine now, bud.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
What are your thoughts on this whole conversation that we've been having about the morality and ethics of doxing and the Kraut stuff?
I think it's bullshit. I just see it's really hard to justify, no matter how many X's you put on it.
Hell yeah.
There you go.
Because, I mean, not to get all, like, Sargon, but, like, you should be attacking people's opinions.
But they're out there to tell
you. You're talking about, like, in terms of guys like Kraut, though. Like, you're talking about, like, other, like, YouTube people and such like that, right?
Yeah, I mean... I guess if they're like doxing people first.
What if it's like a journalist that works for the Huffington Post whose entire living is made by like going after people like right-wing YouTube and internet personalities and like ruining their lives by doxing them? What about someone like that?
I guess I was under the impression that the question was like, is it okay to dox? Period. But like obviously like people were getting like who was that person that was like burning cats like way back in like early 2000s 4chan that
Al Turner?
No, it was I just remember like
the one who did Smash Cat.
Yeah. Like I remember like 4chan, pulled all of their autism together and tried to dox them. Like that. That's fine, I guess.
That guy's like killing cats. I mean, if he's like torturing, if he was doing it like on a video or something?
It was some. If I remember correctly, it was some fucking retard in Philadelphia, and 4chan put their collective autism together, and that was the first time they made the news.
Real quick,
I don't have a problem with that. This guy's killing cats. Like,
I'm sorry. Like, I was just throwing that out there as an example of when I would say.
I think it was Dusty the
That's probably fair game.
Or doxing Ross is, I guess, I can side behind that.
Real quick, I gotta read this from the chat. Disky Fringo, fucking hilarious guy. I painted my computer black hoping it would run faster. Now it doesn't work.
Probably was not like
I think like it's sort of like if someone's out there, even I guess I would apply this to like a leftist. Like if there's some like Antifa person who's just like, or a leftist blogger or something who's just like online, like making, and they're willing to debate and stuff. I would say no, don't dox that person. I think if people are legitimately out here engaging in like ideas and talking about stuff, but you got to remember like the specter is always hanging over us of the media and like these clickbait journalist types, like BuzzFeed type journalists, like these kind of low tier, like as we call them, like interns for Zog, who want to destroy anyone who talks about race or the Jewish question or white identity or white nationalism or anti-immigration. Any of these topics are like taboo in the global homo, and so you talk about that stuff, or if you even talk reasons why gay people are gross and spread disease, stuff like that. Like if any of these verboten topics, there's a whole crew of journalists whose only job is to find out who you are and ruin your life. And those people, I think, I don't feel sorry for anything that would happen to any of those people.